has been committed, and the murderer is in this room. I'm going to need everyone to remain in the embassy until I finish my investigation, unless I solve the case before that.
Now, prisoners as well as suspects.
Hello everybody, welcome back to Screenstars. I'm here today to bring you my review of the 2025 whodunit murder mystery thriller, Murder at the Embassy. The film is directed by Stephen Shimek and it stars Misha Barton, Richard Delane, Antonia Benaith, Maido Hamada and Kojo Attar. Right, the film follows Misha Barton's character, Miranda Green. She is a detective from England. She became very popular in England when she solved a murder mystery in that country, which is a previous film, which is the first film. This is the second film in a series. The first film was called Invitation to a Murder, which I have watched and reviewed on the channel. So after that, she's become something of a celebrity in the UK, so she kind of wants to get away from everything. So she kind of packs her bags, gets a dog, and heads over to Cairo to have a break from everything and have a holiday. Whilst there, she's invited by the ambassador to dinner. She gets to know some people at the table, and then that evening, at the embassy, there is a murder that takes place. So the ambassador calls Miranda. She arrives and essentially then has to solve this mystery as to who the murderer is. What she uncovers is a plot from the Nazis, spies, you name it. There's all sorts of things going off. And will she solve the crime in time? Right, what are my thoughts on Murder at the Embassy? Well, as I mentioned, this is a sequel to the first one, Invitation to a Murder, that came out in 2022, I think. And as I mentioned, I have watched and reviewed that on the channel. And I remember quite enjoying that when it came out. Yes, it was flawed. It had its limitations, but it had a strong central performance by Misha Barton, who is quite memorable and charismatic as this female detective, Miranda Green. Very much in the same vein as like Agatha Christie's characters, you know, the Miss Marples of the world, that type of stuff, and Poirot as well. You know what I mean? It's very, very similar stuff. This is set in the 30s, 1934. So it's got a completely different setting. Like I say, it's in Cairo. And the first thing that really hit me when I started watching this was the production values. It's absolutely a step up from what we got in the first one. Now, the first one was more limited in the sense of it was kind of set in the grounds of like a mansion, the whole movie, I think, for most part anyway. And this one, like I say, it feels more international. You know, it's quite immersive. It feels quite of the time. It feels authentic with the costumes and the vehicles, and you know, it feels like it's set in the 30s. You know, it feels like that time period, and it definitely feels a lot more polished. It's a lot brighter, and you know, it just feels like, you know, they've really upped the game this time round, which I thought was really, really good. This time round, quite a lot of the film is held within like the embassy, but not all of it. There are quite a few sequences where she's outside the embassy investigating over by the pyramids, and you know, following people around Cairo and tailing them and getting clues, that kind of stuff. So it's got a much more international feel to it this time, but I do think that, you know, Misha Barton does a really good job here as Miranda Green, who is very memorable and very charismatic as this detective. Very confident, almost autistic in the approach, which tends to be how a lot of kind of detective films and shows portray the detectives in there. You know, she remembers everything she's exposed to in regards to pictures, facts, letters, writing. You know, it all goes in. You know, and it's very good, and it's nice to have a different detective kind of out there, a different feel, a different vibe. It's very gentle, it's very mellow sort of thing. There's no over the top violence or crude language or anything like that. It's quite tame, but still in a very watchable way. It's quite a relaxed watch, which I quite like. It's one of those films that could kind of go on Sunday afternoon and you could just watch it and enjoy it, sort of thing. It's harmless in a lot of ways. I suppose you could criticise the fact that it doesn't really take risks. It's fairly by the numbers. You know, you've got secret passages and red herrings and all these sorts of bits and pieces thrown in there. So it kind of follows the blueprint fairly closely for like a detective whodunit films that obviously are massively popular these days thanks to the Knives Out series and the Thursday Murder Club film on Netflix. You know, so it's nice to have something else out there because, you know, these films now are popular. I like whodunits. I've always liked murder mystery type films. I think they can be really fun, interesting, and at times gripping. And I like to kind of test myself, you know, test my brain to kind of see if I can figure out. And a good murder mystery will kind of give you the clues in the right places, sort of thing. And I'm not saying that this does. I'm not saying this is, you know, an outstanding murder mystery that, you know, is very intelligent and allows you to participate as the audience member. It's not that type of murder mystery, you know, where you can kind of deduct it for yourself. But it definitely allows you to kind of play along and join in with the fun, sort of thing. The performances here are all strong. I felt as though everybody was authentic to their characters. There were some characters that, you know, you could argue they were quite generic and what you'd expect in a murder mystery. You know, you've got the film star, you've got the journalist, you've got the maid sort of thing, you've got the secretary who's murdered, you've got the head of security. You know, all these figures you expect to see in these type of things. You know, it's like Cluedo in a lot of ways. But it keeps you on your toes, this film. It keeps you guessing. And I think key to a film like this, I never felt bored watching it. The performances all held my interest. The story and the mystery held my interest. It's just not going to, if you like, blow your skirt up. It's just not one of those type of murder mysteries. You know, it's not big budget. It's not, you know, exciting. It's not, you know, overly polished. It's not got big names in it. You know, it's not got any of those things that maybe these days people might want in their murder mysteries, whodunit type movies. But for me, if you're looking for a well-made murder mystery with a slightly gentler approach to telling the story, I think you'd quite enjoy this one, especially if you enjoyed the first one, Invitation to a Murder, that I thought was very competent. And as I do think this is very competent. So if we get more of these, I'll be very happy and I will definitely check them out. Let me know your thoughts if you have seen this or if you're planning to. And I will, of course, be back with plenty more content on the channel very, very soon.